here today with Graham Farrell, VP of Communications from Wayland Group Corp. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, and as I just on those same notes, it is always a pleasure having you on. The last time we spoke, I introduced you a little bit differently. There's something different now.
Yeah, a little slight change. We can get right into that if you like.
Yeah, Wayland Group.
Wayland Group. So Wayland comes from its German roots.
Okay.
Wayland the Smith is a German mythological figure known for he's a creator and inventor. So we thought, given our roots in Europe and our beacon in Germany, we thought it was a good fit. And also for the name change, as much as Maricann is, I'm a sentimental guy. I like Maricann. Maricann's been around since 2013. And it's not going anywhere. It still represents our medical business. But as our business grows and the landscape in Canada changes and the landscape globally changes, we felt Wayland would be a better corporate image for the company to move forward through as we develop more brands, more products, more jurisdictions, etc.
No, absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that too, because I've been talking to a lot of different people in our different our networks and different Facebook groups asking about the name change. It's right, when you see Maricann, it's a great name. It's got you guys where it'd be. I personally I like Wayland. I like the way it sounds because you are going to have a huge pharmaceutical aspect to your company. You already do, and I didn't know about that piece out in Europe actually that has that connection. So it's very interesting that way. Yeah,
there was a lot of work put into it, and a few names are bounced around, but that seemed to work the best with everyone internally, and I'm happy for the change.
Perfect. Well, I almost always do not have a sheet of paper in front of me, but this time I do. And we were talking about it earlier. The reason why is that we had let a bunch of people know, actually 8,000 people. We asked them, do you have any questions for Graham when he comes on the show today? And that's why I had this here, because I want to make sure I don't miss some of their questions and to go through them, because there's some really great ones in here, because now we're starting to heat up. It's starting to get close to that point. So
it's real.
We'll jump into some of these questions here. One of which is probably the most pressing. Is the prospectus clearing, and do you have any information on possible uplisting into TSX Venture? Where are we sitting with that?
Sure. I mean, the prospectus for our special warrant financing back in August that closed. We are in the process, so I don't have any visibility into that. Again, I am told when it's cleared at the same time you are. So that's where we stand, and we'll see.
Okay.
That's the best I can answer that right now.
Well, and I can imagine, even if you can only say so much when it comes to the regulators and things like that. Because something else people have been wondering about is these warrants. So the warrants, when they trade for 10 days over $2, I think it is. Do you know how that process works with the prospectus? Does that kick in?
So the special warrant financing that closed in August, part of that financing is a unit, so it's a stock, common share, and a warrant. Once the prospectus does clear, the time on those warrants starts, so it's a 10-day
from that time.
Trading above $2, that's when the call option kicks in.
Gotcha. And that's good to know. And for anybody who's listening right now, because they're curious about that, has it already started? So when the prospectus goes, do those warrants, can they be exercised or called upon right away? But it sounds like they still need that 10-day buffer period.
That's correct.
Other things that people were asking about is, when it comes to VESIsorb, we spoke about the medical side of Wayland. I had to catch myself there. Almost used it.
Happens to me as well.
But when you take that medical side, VESIsorb is something that you're going to be really anchoring on, especially out in Europe. If I'm not mistaken, that's already underway. That's already selling. Are you able to talk about progress of that in Europe and possibly in Canada?
Absolutely. I can talk about a number of things. VESIsorb is one of the big differentiators for Wayland. I almost did it myself, actually.
Takes getting used to.
So as everyone knows, multiple uses, multiple things that VESIsorb brings to us on the functional beverage side, on the the edible side, the recreational aspect of it is huge, and also on the medical side, where it comes from, the pharmaceutical industry. We've taken this from the pharmaceutical industry and applied it to cannabis. We are selling it in Germany right now. It is commercialized on a large scale. Nice. We are selling it online at www.mariplantde.de. And we're also selling it in pharmacy. So we've been approached from some pharmacies, as our press release stated a few weeks ago. So it is on the shelves in pharmacies, and we expect it to be a known product throughout Germany and throughout Europe.
Very nice. And on that same note, there's a couple of questions that were tied into that, one of which being Canada. I believe it's still Health Canada. We're still waiting for...
Yeah, it's in the regulatory realm. Again, I mean, I know as much as you do. It's with Health Canada, that's what I know. But I'm sure our QA department is working hard
Gotcha.
To make sure that gets through, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's anything that I've learned investing and just being a part of the cannabis industry and learning about it is that, you know, sometimes you're at the mercy of Health Canada because they have so much going on. They got a whole rec system coming up.
Yeah.
They got to figure out all the different aspects. So it's interesting, but so to be continued on.
Yeah, and another thing to add to that is that you want to do things right. You don't want to rush things just to get a press release out. You want to make sure it's done well, it's done properly, and it's airtight. So there's no, you don't have to come back and revisit that, right? So that's always been our approach, is to make sure things are done right and properly so we can move forward.
Well, on that note, and continuing on that note, I should say, and especially in Europe, when it comes to sales, so sales of VESIsorb and things like that, is it strictly online right now? I think you said it was in a few pharmacies, but you don't have any stores open up just yet.
No stores as of yet. There are bigger plans. As we've previously discussed, Europe is a major focus for us. So yeah, there'll be further developments in the region. Currently, it's online. Even the pharmacies are buying it from us online. So that's the portal, but that will evolve.
Nice. And the last question in that regard is THC. You've been granted, I believe, your export from Canada into Germany, but not the import. Do I have that right?
So the final piece of that puzzle is we are waiting on our GMP certification for our facility in Germany.
Gotcha.
Okay, and once we have that, we can then ship to our facility in Germany. And what that does is it cuts out the middleman. So people who are shipping over there now, they're using a broker, they're using a middleman, takes their margin away. So it'll be a big deal for us once we get our GMP certification in Germany. And again, I'm not going to sit here and talk about timing, because it's not a good exercise. But hopefully it happens soon. But when it does happen, it's a major impact for Wayland shareholders, as it differentiates us once again from the pack, as we have our own GMP facility in Germany.
Well, yeah, and I think that would be a pretty big deal when it's like you said, you don't have to pay wholesale prices. You're quite literally selling to yourself,
right?
And that way you can get larger margins out of it and obviously make more money.
Exactly. And we're well positioned there. We're the only company with a facility ready to go in Germany, so it's we're very strong positioned there.
Very nice. Well, to wrap up Europe and different areas, obviously other than Canada, do you have any updates on Italy, on Malta, on these different areas that?
Steady as she goes, right? So Italy was still it's not a finalized agreement yet. So our teams are putting that together, and hopefully that's final soon. But again, first mover in Italy with a very strong partner, so that's exciting. Malta, as everyone knows, it's a pharmaceutical hub that'll help aid our pharmaceutical business throughout Europe. And Switzerland, which we can get to more. I'm sure there's questions around Haxon and their Switzerland operation. It's steady as she goes, so it's moving forward.
Well, why don't we run on that actually for Haxon and in that area. When it comes to your CBD cigarettes, I know a lot of people, this is the first time ever hearing about the CBD cigarette, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's interesting because in Europe, it's actually a big thing.
It is a thing, and it's a very big thing. It's growing. So CBD cigarettes as an alternative to tobacco with low THC, sub 1%, is legal in Switzerland, and we're well positioned there as well. So the plan is to have these products, these CBD cigarettes, launched in Q1.
Okay.
That's where we stand right now, and there are similar products being sold in Switzerland. The difference is they're half mixed with tobacco, they're lower quality, so we are elevating the CBD cigarette game that exists in Switzerland.
Gotcha. And by saying that, you're going to be strictly CBD in these cigarettes, no tobacco whatsoever?
No tobacco whatsoever, yes, correct. Yeah. It'll be a superior product.
Yeah. Well, very nice. Well, I look forward to seeing what comes of that and how that progresses. And now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't have to look at this list. Yeah. They're coming back to my head, but I had here to make sure that everyone got their questions out there. Sure. One person asked, what about, you see a lot of different people talking about Jamaica and South Africa and these other areas where it's really starting to thrive, the cannabis industry. Yep. Do you have any plans there? Are you looking at it? Do you have anything you can elaborate on?
What I can say is that there are a number of opportunities that come at us on a daily basis from all around the world. And knowing Ben and knowing our team, we will pursue opportunities that are better for our shareholders, that best represent their interests. So is it active? Absolutely. Can I tell you what jurisdictions we're close on? Not at this time. But we are very active internationally, as obviously it's opening up globally. And we're aware of that and want to be positioned the best. On a global scale. So
you're telling me you can't give us information that nobody else knows right now on the show?
That is correct, yes. I'm sorry about that.
We try. But switching gears to Ontario and to Canada. Legalization is coming up October 17th. April 1st, we'll be having storefronts in Ontario, specifically the largest province per capita and population as well. Where are you guys heading towards, or where are you at right now with recreational sales? Like, are you prepared for October 17th? Will you have certain strains that you're going to be selling? And also in Ontario, have you decided if you're going to be opening up any retail stores? Do you have any plans for that?
So as for the retail presence, that's a question for my sales and marketing team. But I do believe that Ontario is yet to give definitive guidelines into what that's going to look like.
It might be this week. They're saying it might be this week.
Yeah. But, so I guess until we know and everyone knows what the guidelines are, we will move accordingly. Obviously, we spend a lot of time, or our sales and marketing team spend a lot of time focusing on Ontario and our strategy here. So it's I have full faith in those guys to come up with this strategy that works. Yeah,
it'll be interesting because they're going to be say it's this week. You don't have much time to react before it actually. Yes, it's April 1st and still quite a ways away, but in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's not a lot of time. I'm so
surprised to the cannabis industry.
I know. I'm so surprised you still haven't done this. I mean, it would have been. It's funny. A lot of people were angry at Ford for pushing it to April 1st. Like, oh, what are you doing? He probably came in there, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, he's got some history in selling. The Fords know that industry very, very well, and he probably looked in it though and just thought to himself, "We can't go with this. We can't go with those."
I'm not going to comment on the Fords, but I will say the private model is an ideal model for Wayland and for the entire space for Ontario LPs. Absolutely.
That's why we allow me. I'm not IR for a big corporation. I'm FTMIG on the Midas Letter Live. I can say stuff about certain people that maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But at the end of the day, it is the truth. But I think it's going to be very interesting how that is put out. What type of retail stores are going to go out? And I can imagine you guys are going to have some updates for us when that comes to be.
100%.
Langton. Langton facility. We've talked about it a couple of times, you and I, and we've actually been there. Well, I'm sure you've been there way more than a couple of times, but myself with you a couple of times. And the last few Maricann minutes that we've been seeing, which are now the Wayland minutes, there's been one room that is growing. Do you know how close those other rooms are coming? How close they are to coming online?
And yes, very close. Are they already? Very close. We're still in the one room in the new facility, and the plants look beautiful. I was actually there yesterday, and they look. Nice. It's very exciting to be in there. We are very close to getting a significant rollout in the new facility. I don't know where we stand with the regulators, et cetera, but it's very close. It's looking really good down there, and we're ready.
Nice. And do you have any certain strains that are currently growing in there now, or are you able to speak about which ones might hit come recreational?
So Kiwi is our first launch, our official launch. That'll be the brand in stores, and stay tuned for more brand launches. Nice. We've got some pretty cool stuff coming down the pipe. So
it'll be interesting because there's a lot more still to come, not from yourself, but a lot of other companies. So for myself as a speculator and investor, I love it. Every time I see a new investor presentation or I see something new, I'm like, oh, they got 5 new brands or 3 new brands. It's crazy, eh? It's crazy.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
There's nothing else like this. No, not right now, at least. And there hasn't been for a long time. So it's, all on these companies who are still having their head on top of their shoulders with all the different all these different things that Health Canada keeps throwing at you, and all these different things that keep happening, and things moving, and legalization. Was it happening? Was it not happening? It's been a wild year.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been fun.
And another question that you may or may not be able to answer, but I'm going to probe you anyway.
Okay.
Catalysts. Do we have any catalysts coming up that we should be, keeping an eye on, looking at before Christmas? What's coming down the pipeline?
It's I get that sort of question all the time, and I wish I knew. I mean, there's sometimes, but what I can say is we will continue to execute. There's, as I said before, it is very busy. It's just a matter of things crossing the line. I expect a very active Q3 and Q4 as far as catalysts go.
Yeah, because there's still so much more unknown. We were just talking about that seconds ago, and it's crazy that something brand new can come out. Like, look what happened when outdoor crops came. Have you heard of anything about that, by the way?
No, I don't know. I don't know what our plan. I mean, our facility is, as you know, it's state of the art, pharmaceutical grade, fully automated, and to incorporate an outdoor grow, I don't know. So I haven't been part of that conversation, but definitely not our focus.
Yeah, and I heard it. Obviously, a couple months ago, it was announced in the summer, and nothing since. Like, I'm hearing from some people that I'm talking to that they're trying to fight it and make it not be allowed. And there's always, I was just wondering if you had heard of any of those talks happening, because outdoor grow is going to be a large component for some of these companies, but it's such an unknown. It's just another unknown to throw into the basket of what's going on in the cannabis industry.
It's explosive growth, new industry, right? So a lot of changes will continue to happen.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really looking here because I want to make sure that all these people took a lot of time to go through these different questions. I want to make sure we got to all of them, because people were very, very curious about certain things, and I didn't ask about one.
Okay.
McKesson. There's a lot of ambiguity around there, but a lot of, hopefully, optimism as well. Can you go into any type of detail of what that relationship
I can talk about our pharmacy initiative. That's across the country. It's real. It's our deal. We will be I'd be careful how I word this. We have to be careful. But basically, we have a very robust pharmacy agreement across the country that is live. It's and the national launch is anticipated very soon. So again, stay tuned. That's what I can say there. It's real. It's ours. It's across the country, and it's meaningful.
I'm glad to hear. Well, it was a head fake, because I do have one more question for you, then we'll let you go. So I appreciate your time. The States. A lot of people are talking about listing in different areas in the States. Are you guys still looking at different options? Is that something you're actively pursuing?
Yeah, the last time I was on here, I mentioned it's top priority. It is a top priority. It's a top priority to review where we're listed and what's better for our shareholders and where we want to be listed in the future. So that conversation's ongoing internally. That's what I can say. We are aware of different exchanges providing different benefits to the company, to our shareholders, so on and so forth. So it's all being weighed. It's all on the table. So we will hopefully have some solid, clear direction in the very near future.
Well, I appreciate it. We went through that whole list, 8,000 people. I tried to aggregate as many of those questions I could as I could for today's show. I hope that a lot of them were solved. Always appreciate your time. This will not be your last time on here, and we'll continue to see what Wayland has in store in the near future.
That's great.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.